Hey guys, it's Dan, and welcome back. I'm actually here today with the very lovely Miss Arden Cho, and presenting Arden Cho.
I know, you're funny. Presenting Dan Matthews.
So I got really lucky actually. So Arden and I were talking a little bit ago about like adoptee issues, and one of the things that I wanted to do a little bit more on this channel is to talk actually more with like fellow Asian Americans and fellow people that are affected by adoption. And Arden and I actually have a very similar background with the idea that like where we grew up was a significantly like not a very like heavily Asian area. And one of the things that Arden actually talked about that I actually didn't know that she was a part of, but you went to a lot of like Korean adoptee camps or like heritage camps when you grew up, right?
Yeah, I mean it's funny because I was born and raised in Texas, but I went to high school in Minnesota, and Minnesota has a very large adoption community.
They have so many adoptees.
So many, and it's so funny because when I would meet Asian Americans, they just all assumed my parents were white. I mean, it's funny too because I always grew up thinking I was American. I didn't really know what it meant to be Asian American. I didn't know a lot of Asian people, and I didn't really understand what it meant to be Asian American. I always thought I was just American. And we'd be like, where are you from? Texas.
Exactly.
What are you?
Did you
American?
so like when you were growing up, if people asked you, so like kind of going along, when people asked you like what you were, did you say Korean or did you say Asian American? Like were you more like into?
No, when people asked me what I was, I said I was American. They were like, well, what are you? And I'm like, American. Where are you from? Texas? And then they would be like, no, but what are your parents? And I'd be like, oh, yeah, my parents are Korean.
And they were kind of surprised by that.
But I never really understood. I would never like identify myself as Korean then because I didn't really understand. I mean, I didn't know much about Korean culture, and that's what we were talking about essentially is that when I was younger, I would go to these adoption camps with some of my friends who were adoptee Koreans, and we would learn about Korean history, and I would find out that their parents would know some of this history that like I didn't even know. And I'm like, I have Korean parents and I don't even know this stuff. But it was really educational and fun.
It was, yeah. I didn't actually start going to these heritage camps until like maybe like 5 or 6 years ago. And part of me really kind of wishes that I had gone to those camps when I was younger. I feel like that not that I missed out on anything, because I feel like that my parents were really good at like informing me about like Korean or Asian American stuff. But part of me kind of like wishes that maybe I'd gone to one of these camps. Did you find that like the majority of campers or people that you're around, were they mainly just adoptees, or did you find like other like Korean Americans that were kind of in similar situations as you?
I feel like, I can't really remember exactly, but I do feel like the majority were adoptees. And I mean, at the time, like I was, I think in high school, and my friends were adoptees, but they would sort of help run the camps because they grew up going to them. And I was like, oh, I'd love to help. And it was just such a fun experience because I felt like sort of in a community for once, you know, not embarrassed about being Korean or Asian or anything like that, because I feel like growing up in an area where you're not the majority and you're a minority, you always sort of feel like you don't belong, or you feel like you don't have a place. But I loved going to these camps because it sort of makes you realize you're not by yourself. You're not alone.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, totally. Like my first experience at a Korean adoptee camp, it was kind of mind-blowing to me because like I'd been around a lot of Korean people before, but like not in a situation where like it was mainly Korean people that were all kind of from my experience as an adoptee, and then like seeing all of these like the white parents around us, and then just knowing that we all came from the same place. I had this one moment actually that was very like kind of like significant for me that will like never go away, where we went karaokeing after the camp, and I just thought it was so like I thought it was so weird that like we were all adopted, and that like we I think something that happened was we all sang this like classic rock song that like I don't think a lot of other like, if you were growing up Korean, maybe I don't think your parents listened to like K-Earth 101 or like oldies kind of channels, and so like we all like knew the lyrics to this one like classic rock song. I was like, oh my god, this is so weird.
Well, it's funny because when you talk about your karaoke experience, I think that's really what it's about. It's not even about like the classes or learning the language or learning about the culture and history, but it's more so the relationships you make and the friends that you make. And I could see that those relationships and those experiences, that's what you remember.
Yeah, no, 100%, I agree. How many years did you go to these camps for?
Just a few.
A couple of years?
Yeah, just mostly like high school.
Yeah? That's kind of fun, though. And the camp was in Minnesota. Yeah. For those of you out there that aren't aware, Minnesota is actually like, particularly Minneapolis.
Yeah.
There are a ton of adoptees. I think there's a lot of reasons why. I think it's known as like the land of 1 million adoptees, just because there's like tons of us out there.
Yeah, no, it is really, and I think it's great because even the parents, like, they have a community where they get together and they sort of talk about like, well, what can we do to make sure that our children grow up feeling loved and like balanced?
Yeah.
And I think that's so great. I love hearing these stories and meeting these families too. I mean, you meet people who are like, yeah, I adopted my son, and who happened to be Korean at the time, and I thought I couldn't have children, and after I adopted him, I ended up having like 2 children, but she's like, but I love them all like so much equally and all the same, and it's so amazing to hear those stories and to feel like, I don't know, it's nice.
This is something that I think about a lot, is that whether or not, if I had grown up in like a community where there maybe were a lot more Asian Americans or a lot more Korean Americans specifically, like, do you kind of wish that maybe you had done that, or do you find that like, maybe it was better that you didn't grow up in a community like that?
It's funny because I actually think about this a lot, especially living in LA, where the community is so diverse and there's just so many, cultures and types of people here. And I always wonder, I have a lot of friends in LA that are Asian American that are so confident, that are so sure of who they are, and their lifestyles are just so different. And I feel like I might have grown up more confident, and I might have maybe not had such a chip on my shoulder that I felt like I had to fit in or prove myself. But at the same time, I think I wouldn't have become who I am, or I probably wouldn't have pursued acting. I think for me, acting sort of became a result of the fact that I always felt so insecure in my body, and I felt so insecure of being who I was, and I always wanted to be somebody else. Always. And so I think for me, I fell in love with acting because it was essentially a chance for me to be all the people that I wasn't. And so,
I completely agree. That's actually like, I think that's a really, really great statement. And like, I 100% agree with like, maybe if I'd grown up in like a place with more Korean people or Asian American people, maybe I'd be more confident with myself. But ultimately, I wouldn't be doing what it is that I'm doing right now. And then I think your statement, and I think a lot of adoptees that are out there, they actually, I hear that a lot, and that like, because they're so uncomfortable in their body sometimes, that like they need an outlet for that. Art becomes like that outlet, or like acting in particular becomes that outlet though.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny to think that, especially because like, even as a woman, I feel like girls are so much more insecure about like the physicality of things, and it's so weird to think that I don't think it was until I was about 25 that I was comfortable with like looking at my face and being like, okay, I'm okay with my dark hair, I'm okay with my eyes and the shape of my face and everything, like this is who I am and I accept it. Because for so long, all I wanted to do was essentially be different.
So thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you guys tuning in for this. Thank you, Arden, for joining me today.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Ideally, I'm going to be doing some more of these talks in the future. Let me know below what you guys want us to talk about. I'm really, really interested in like finding out from other like people that are just affected by adoption, and what their thoughts are about different subjects. So let me know below in the comments what you guys want me to talk about. Follow Arden online. Make sure to watch her on Teen Wolf on MTV. What night?
Tuesday nights.
Tuesday nights. Go out there and watch some Arden Show. Binge on that Arden. And
see life right here.
Arden's got a YouTube channel too. Follow her on the links. Follow me below, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
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 Oh, that's a gift for sure.